all-knowing and all-powerful, starting with the elderly wolf uncle. Chapter 78. Fortunately, Jarvis's voice sounded at the right time, indicating that the power transmission of the suit was repaired. Tony Stark immediately did not hesitate, urged the engine to fly into the air, and narrowly avoided this smash. Rumble. The Hulk crashed to the ground, smashed into the air, only to fall on the ruins, causing smoke and dust to rise. Tony Stark looked at this scene, and his eyes were shocked. Meanwhile, SHIELD headquarters. Nick Fury looked at this scene, his eyes were cloudy, and his expression was complicated. Both Hulk and Abomination made him feel jealous. And Chen Tian could actually abuse the two of them with only one person. The other side, on New York Square. Damn it. The Abomination that was smashed into the distance by the blast, Rawdon was the first to get up, and his expression was quite unconvinced and launched another offensive. The ground trembled suddenly. Abomination rushed to Chen Tian's eyes in an instant. Chen Tian looked at the other party with an indifferent look in his eyes. In this way, the desired capabilities have been almost copied. He had no more thoughts and continued to play. You're damned. Chen Tian whispered, stretching out his hand to easily catch the huge arm that swung at him with Abomination. Boom. 5 fingers to power. It's like pinching a dead wooden branch, easily pinching and hating a forearm. The epithelium ruptured, and countless red muscles and white tendons popped out. There was also a huge amount of sticky and smelly blood gushing out. Severe pain came. Feeling severe pain, the gigantic Abomination raised its head and let out a deafening roar. The huge sound wave generated by the roar rippled outwards and spread throughout North New York City. Chapter 68. Nick Fury's mind. Use nuclear weapons against Chen Tian. Roar. Abomination with a roar of extreme pain echoed back and forth in the night sky of New York City after nightfall. Even if you only listen to the voice, you can feel the pain he is experiencing now. Damn it. Abomination gritted his teeth and raised his eyes, looking at Chen Tian in front of him. He originally wanted to erupt, but the moment he met the other party's eyes, the entire giant body actually trembled unconsciously. What kind of eyes are that? Indifferent, overlooked, high above. Row is no longer much reason. All thoughts are occupied by war intent and anger of hatred. When they meet the pair of eyes, there is a majestic fear in their hearts, rushing up, occupying all thoughts at once. You're damned. He recalled what Chen Tian had just said. Again, the previous hatred only felt that the other party was just provoking himself. Looking back now, I feel that there were no mood swings at all. It sounds like it's just a calm telling of a truth. Spare me. Hateful opening, the hideous mouthpiece full of dense fangs, this time actually spit out words begging for mercy. It's a pity, it's a pity. Chen Tian shook his head slightly when he heard this. A few simple words fell into the ears of hatred, but like a few extremely sharp spikes, they were inserted into the heart. Burst. It's not just Chen Tian's words. After he said those words, the young man with indifferent eyes had already stretched out his hands and easily inserted them into the chest that could not even be pierced by bullets. No. The body trembled, feeling the huge amount of pain spread throughout the body in an instant, and wanted to continue to beg for mercy. Pity. The words are not finished. Tearing and pulling, Chen Tian's hands inserted into the other party's chest suddenly fell to the sides. Abhorred the body full of spikes, deeply torn in half. All the membranes, muscles, and bones that should have been extremely tough could not resist Chen Tian's movements. The blood that was as sticky and smelly as possible, mixed with countless strange internal organs, rushed out and splashed to the ground. Chen Tian casually threw the two halves of the behemoth body in his hand to the ground. His expression was still calm and without the slightest fluctuation. As if he had just torn open an insignificant white piece of paper. There he was standing. Because of his biological position, all the blood and mucus did not stain him. At random on the sides of the body were abomination corpses that had been torn in half. Blood soaked the internal organs all over the ground, mixed with other colorful unknown liquids, and emitted a strong stench into the air. At this time, the scene had completely fallen into a dead silence. Everyone, looking at Chen Tian, their eyes were full of shock and disbelief. Sir, the detection of the living abomination is dead. Tony Stark stood there stunned, listening to the voice of Jarvis ringing in his ears, and his expression under the mask had long been sluggish. Although I have not experienced it myself, I can draw at least one conclusion from all the manifestations of the surrounding environment. The power that Chen Tian burst out just now is unpredictable. The power is far beyond what a human can bear. Even before that, none of the known life forms on Earth existed to possess such power. This guy is simply a walking nuclear weapon. Tony Stark's thoughts proceeded to this point, and he couldn't help but be startled and muttered to himself. Park in a car on the side of the road in the distance. Chen, this freak. From the driver's seat where Logan was, he watched this scene from a distance and couldn't help cursing in a low voice. Others may not know, but as the person who was most familiar with Chen Tian, Rogan knew how long it took the former to reach this step. Chen, it's scary. The latter's Pete was so frightened that he curled up with his head in his hands, shivering. Wanda and Laura were both huddled in front of the car window, looking at Chen Tian with bright eyes, feeling full of security. Chen's mutant talent is the strongest I've ever seen. Professor Charles on the side also looked a little surprised, and couldn't help but sigh. After 2 days of leaving, have you already strengthened your mutant abilities to such an extent? Except for them, General Ross on a helicopter, and Nick in the distance of SHIELD Fury was even more shocked when he saw Chen Tian's performance. As government personnel, they naturally know how terrifying the physical density of abomination is. That's an existence that can't even penetrate armor-piercing bullets. Actually torn by hand like that? How terrifying is Chen Tian's power? Moreover, just now he obviously has not reached his limit, and the whole process seems relaxed. And what is his limit? It's just certain that ordinary thermal weapons are far from threatening him. How exactly was this monster created? General Ross was high in the sky, looking at Chen Tian from afar, and his eyes were full of fanaticism. Although the mutants in the world today have been reduced to experimental subjects, for General Ross, those mutant experimental subjects are too weak. After seeing the terrifying power of the Hulk, he wanted to get stronger. And at this time, a stronger existence than the Hulk is at hand. The other side. Chapter 1,